A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, "Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Rise and do not be afraid." And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear brothers and sisters, you heard the story of the transfiguration of Jesus, which Father Dan proclaimed to us. We don't say that the transfiguration of the Lord is a miracle, because a miracle is something happened that nobody was there. People experience the change of a sick person. People experience of some incident naturally and cannot be explained. We name it miracle. But here, when Jesus was transfigured, Peter was there, James was there, and John was there. However, John did not record anything in his gospel, but the other 3. The synoptic traditions, the 3 evangelists, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, reported about this event. And today, Father Dan just proclaimed the gospel according to Mark about the transfigure of Jesus before the 3 disciples. What does Jesus' transfiguration mean to us, say to us, or can be active in our life? Not just about reading the transfiguration, but how can we live the transfiguration? First of all, I would like to share with you that the official solemnity transfiguration traditionally to be celebrated on August 6th, exactly 40 days before the feast of, anybody know? September 15, surely not my birthday. September 15 is the feast of the exaltation of the cross. Immediately after the feast of Our Lady of Sorrow, September 14. And another element that I think you should remember from what Mark reported is right at the moment of Transfiguration, Peter was amazed of the scenario that he was in front of. So he said something that not many people understand. He said, well, God, maybe we make the tents here, the booths here, so we can stay. Why did Peter bring it up about building the tent here? Some scholars explain that perhaps the transfiguration on that day happened during the week of the Feast of the Tents of the Jewish tradition, which was happening in the autumn months. When people gather, they build up the tents, they stay together to celebrate. These two scriptural tradition mentioned here very important because it helps us to understand the transfiguration of the Lord. First, the three reported about the same event, but John, who was there, did not mention. Second, it happened during the week of Feast of the Tents of the Jewish. So why did Jesus take Peter and James and John with him? Three Gospels reported that this event happened shortly after Jesus predicted his passion and resurrection. After years, Jesus took the disciples with him, shared with him the entire of his life. When the time fulfilled, Jesus told the disciples, "Let me tell you the truth. My future is on the cross. Because my goal, my mission to come on earth is not to gain the victory over the Roman Empire as some people have thought of or assumed. But my goal to incarnate is to help people to see the unconditional and ultimate love of God. That He sacrificed His only beloved Son for the world to be redeemed." Jesus is very clear. He doesn't confuse. He's not good at marketing. He doesn't show the good pictures to attract people. He showed the truth, the reality of humankind, and also the real love of God. Therefore, soon he predicted his future. Peter says, "Oh, I go with you. I follow you. No worry. Don't worry. If you go to the cross, I go with you. If you die, I die with you." And Jesus knew that Peter could not have understood what the passion is. So Jesus wants Peter to understand who Jesus is. Don't follow him as an idol or a model that you want to predict. Follow God as a true God. follow Him without true being. That's the first lesson for us. Be real to God, and He is so real to us. You don't have to make up to see Him, even though most of you, especially our ladies have presence here, you do make up to go to church, but you don't need to make up when you go to God, because God is behind on that people can see. Before the Transfiguration, Peter could not understand. But the moment of Transfiguration, Peter comes to realize the long history of the Old Testament and how Jesus was intervening and being a connection. When Peter came to see the reality of Jesus, who is the owner of the history, Peter came to understand his own story. If you read the history of the church and the life of the church with many wounded and martyrdoms, ups and downs, circumstances and challenges, and you don't see your own story in the church, you are not living in the church. You are outside of the church. Look back to your own family's stories. If something happened with a member of your family and you don't have the emotion for it, you are not normal. Correct? If you love your family, if you love your relatives, one undertaking suffering, panic, you feel it. You want to be with. You want to touch that person on the shoulder, on the hands, so that you can feel what that person is feeling or undertaking. Therefore, if you read the gospel, you read the story in the scriptures, and you don't feel it, you are not Christians. Pope Francis says very clear to the youth gathered in Lisbon, the only way you can be Christians is there to live the values of Christ on the cross with joy. Not with sorrow, but with joy. Because on the cross, love was praised. For our human love, suffering is death. Suffering put an end into the happiness. But on the cross and from the cross, God's suffering is the beginning for us. If you trust that, you see the other two readings reminded us our mission. Our mission is to let the light of Christ shine upon us so that we can be shone before others. You see, Peter could not recognize who was in front of him because of the bright of the light. Psychologically, at that moment, Peter was struck with what he had seen and what he is seeing. Seeing God will enable us to see things anew. The same story of your life, but if you place your story in your prayer, in your relationship with God, it becomes different. Therefore, look at your own experience. When you are not happy, you like somebody to sit with you. You want to call somebody to talk. You want to send a text message to say something. Because all of us need others. God needs us though. Without our human sinfulness, Jesus could not have been here. Without us being betrayal, Jesus would not been here. But he's here not because he wants to see our perfection, but he wants to perfect us. The transfiguration of Jesus did not change his being or his look or his identity. It's revealed, it's unveiled, so the disciples can come into the life of Jesus and understand him. Remember last week, I left you a message of asking God so that we can have good understanding. Good understanding means understand like God. God is good. Goodness comes from God. Good understanding, good eyes means the heart and the eyes that can see and feel like God. So today I give you just one advice. How have you been transfigured in your life? Answer for yourself. I often ask you to pray in the morning. This week, I ask you to pray in the evening. Most of us, human beings, sometimes don't do what we are asked for to do, or do more, or do other things than what we have been asked to do. That means I asked you to pray in the evening. I didn't say that you do not pray in the morning. Okay? I didn't say that. Feel free to pray in the morning when you open your eyes or you wake up. But at night, before you go to bed, ask yourself one question repeatedly: how God transfigures me today, or how myself was transfigured by God today. To be more specific, ask yourself, early in the morning, did I misunderstand somebody? From now, at this moment, by the end of the day, did I realize something better? Sometimes we see somebody or meet somebody with our own prejudice. Correct? We meet people, we see people with our own prejudice. God doesn't do that. Last week, you went to the confession. You come back this week, God doesn't remember. Only the priest, the confessor remember. God doesn't. Pope Francis said that. And he received 3 young persons to hear confession. And reportedly, he said people at the beginning that, don't worry, God doesn't remember anything. Start new thing. God looks at us at this moment with his generous eyes. How can we live each day? How can we live each day with the newness of God in our relationship with others? When you call somebody, before you talk to that person, oftenly you would picture what that person would be. You could predict what that person would act, what that person would say, how that person would take your story. That will not help you. Remember, when each time you go to see God, we are anew. So try to live that spirit in your life. Don't receive people with your own definition. Be open-minded. Be open with your heart. Receive people with the reality. That is the method that can help you to relieve on depression. Sometimes we become depressed because things don't happen the way you want to. Have you ever asked, when you displeased or unhappy with something, ask God, is it what you want to? Help me to take it. That's the relief for staying away of being stressful. So again, I hope you will remember my advice. And I advise you to faithfully do it every day from now until next Saturday. Every night before you go to bed, review your own movie of the day. You are the movie star of your own story. Don't review the things from others. Don't talk to God. Today, she said that, he did that. No, what did you say? What did I do? Tell God that. And you can see the pattern of change within a day. The moment that you got upset and you got relieved. The moment you feel so angry and the moment you feel at peace. If God is with you every single moment, you live in peace. If you live with God every moment, you own the joy of your life. Amen.